What up brothers, it's Clip King returning for a really special project video. It's going to stem over 3 parts. I'm going to try and do the thankless task of ranking my figures. I've currently got 50 figures in that collection and I'm going to try and rank a top 15. But as you probably heard in the last video, I said it's going to be a dual countdown. So what I'm going to try and do is a top 15 Damn Toys Gangsters Kingdom running concurrently with the top 15 1/6 scale figures other than Damn Toys, so including Hot Toys, Enterbay, a couple of custom pieces, Storm collectibles, and I'm going to try and give you the 2 separate top 15 videos. Now like I said, there is 50 different figures in that collection, so it's not going to be easy. There's a lot of figures that's going to get left out that you would probably say, well, that's my favourite figure, has it not made it in? But I'm also going to try and tell you a story of why I've put each figure in. It could be down to the things I've done to it, how I acquired it, things I like about it, the likeness, different categories. But it's been hard to choose because, like I say, for every good one you put in, you're leaving another really good one out. I would say as well that even the figures that I have left out, I'm just going to give a mention, an honourable mention, let's call it, at the start of this video. But the video is going to run over 3 parts. So I'm going to do from 15 probably down to 11 on each collection on this video. Then in part 2 I'll go from 10 down to 6 and then 5 down to 1 in the last video. So it will be a 3-parter. I hope you watch every part. Like I said, some things you'll agree on, some things you won't. But I thought it was time to do it because I keep looking at the collection and think it's nearly time for a collection reset, and by that I mean move a lot of the old stuff out and just make space for new stuff, or even box some up just to get them out of the way because it's a little bit crowded at the moment. I'm constantly moving stuff out so I can review stuff, but there's nothing really now that I look at and think, oh fuck it, I want to get rid of that. It's pretty much when I select, it's always an hard choice now. So stick with my videos and we'll crack on. Let's start with the honourable mentions. Right, so before we start the countdown, let's roll in and talk about the figures that didn't quite make it. It might surprise a few of you, but like I said, there's an argument to be made for every figure. So as we move down to this shelf, you'll see I've got 3 versions of Terminator. The front and centre one is actually a DX10, but it's wearing the DX13's head and battle damage jacket. The DX10 in its own right is a really good figure, but I just feel that it was superseded by another better version, so that is why it's not in the countdown. Same goes for the Terminator 1 shootout version of Terminator. Again, a really nice figure and an awesome set. Really enjoyed reviewing that one, but again, it's not the best Terminator out there, so it didn't quite make the grade. As I move down to this shelf, you see all nice figures, and of the shelf, Carlito didn't quite make it. Again, really nice figure by Blitzway, but a couple of little niggles with it that really stopped me loving the figure. A couple of things I don't understand. The limited amount of left hands and the single bend elbow on a figure that wears clothes all the time. I just didn't understand it. It's an awesome piece and an awesome head sculpt, but again, just didn't make it. Another one that might be a major surprise to you is the Jack Sparrow figure, Pirates of the Caribbean. Still possibly Hot Toys' best head sculpt, but because I don't love the character, I find that I pay the figure very little interest. A lot of people have asked if I ever know anybody who's selling one of these, and I'm sort of always on brink of saying, well, you can have mine if the price is right. But it's one of those figures, it's that good, I think I would really regret selling it. But when I compare it to my other figures, it just doesn't get on the list. Same with the Predator. When I got it, in fact more so when I got the original Predator, that was one of the figures that I buzzed for. Now I do believe the classic is better than the original Predator, but again I think because of the limited pose options, I just tire of the figure a little bit. It is awesome still, and I still think it's the Predator to have, but it's just not quite made this countdown. Now as we move up, again it might surprise you to know that from that shelf there is 3 that never got on the list, and they are the Dark World light armored version of Thor. Again, I do love the figure, I'm not saying any of these figures are bad, but when I compare it to others, it just never got on. Same with the Days of Future Past Wolverine. I still think it's the best Wolverine, definitely the best sculpt to have, and I do like having it in the collection, but I just couldn't find an argument to put it on the top 15. and then going right to the back, the Hulk. Top figure, very imposing, nice to look at, always looks nice displayed with smaller figures. But again, I think it's down to the limited posability that stops me putting it on a countdown like this. Moving across to the Batman Returns. Michael Keaton, awesome figure. Massive shout out to Lee Ward for even sending me this figure. I do appreciate it. But again, if I were to compare it with the DX09 Batman, I think I prefer the DX09, although this is probably the better figure of the two. I keep it because I think I like the display. Again, thanks to Wyman for sending me the display box with the lights. It is always nice when it's lit up. But again, the limited posability, I find it hard to put it on a top 15 countdown. Moving down again to the RoboCop shelf. Now this might surprise you because this is a really top figure. The die-cast RoboCop, the clean version. Top figures, a lot to love about it. But like I've said earlier, because it was superseded by what I feel is a better version, it's hard for me to put that version on there. But yeah, it's still a top figure, and if you've got it, you probably love it. Moving down again. Dredd. Now this one I really did feel tight. In fact, I will be honest and said this were on the list right up to the very end, and then it sort of got bumped. Top figure. Awesome what Art Figures did at the price. It's an unlicensed figure, but everybody knows it's Dredd. Couple of little things that I would change about it. Probably the body. I'd go to an Hot Toys body, one that fits the outfit a little bit better, and also them damned gloved hands. I would swap them out if I could find a really good set. So that is probably the only reason that Dredd got bumped from the list. So yeah. And then the last one that didn't quite make it, again, awesome set. Still one of Hot Toys' best DX sets. It's the DX Bruce Lee. I'm going to actually review this figure again because when I watched my old review of it, it's pretty shit. So I think at some point I'm going to go back and review this figure. But for the sake of this countdown, it just did not make it on. So let's crack on and talk about numbers 15. Right, at number 15, it's the Hot Toys Don Vito Corleone from The Godfather. I'll show you the packaging first. Still to this day is Hot Toys' best box, and it's not just it's the best box, it's the best box by a country mile. This figure, when it came to the packaging and the set, Hot Toys just showed it so much love. This is pretty much why I keep packaging involved in my review scores, simply because I don't think I've ever seen this surpassed. I've seen some other good boxes, some really big, strong card, some impressive ones from Damn Toys, where the theme of the story rolls on through the box, but this is just a cut above. If I could score it a 5 out of 6, I would do, simply because, like I said, nothing else has ever touched it. It's not just the artwork, which I will say, as you can see, is the raised felt, which comes through from the layer below into the sort of cutaway section on the box. As you see, it's Marlon Brando in profile, and then the wraparound band like a flower box with the titles on, and then on the lower box the name. Inside that box, how it works is just unbelievable. It's got 2 individual boxes inside it which house the figure and all the accessories, and then it also includes a sort of wedding album of the pictures of sort of making this figure, or some posed shots of this figure. It's just so impressive. So what I'll do is I'll get the box out of the way. I just wanted to show it because I've spoke about it so many times, and I'm sure a lot of you nouveau collectors have never seen this and probably never will. It might not be a figure that ever interests you, but I just wanted to show while I'm doing my countdown. As you see, it included this. This is the brochure that I was talking about. So as we move it open, see it's got the sort of blinds like in his office. You can move that and get a shot of the figure. Here you see some more pictures, the waxed paper that has the picture of Marlon Brando here, which is on the sort of waxed paper, as you see, and then to another shot, and so on and so forth. The book is just a right touch, and I've never seen another figure that includes it. Only other thing that comes close to it is Johnny Chung Kinman's Rocky and his Freddie Mercury, his Teen Wolf figure, they include like a brochure that shows you the work that's gone into it. So Hot Toys are the original when it comes to my knowledge, but like I say, it is nice to see that a custom artist has also tipped his hat and followed it. So looking at the figure and what it included, quite impressive, I think you'd agree. As I move away, it's got the 3-panel backdrop, which is nice thick card. See, it has the sort of fireplace and a lamp on that side. Then it all folds together at the back, and then it comes with a raised carpeted base with his name plaque at the front. Vito Corleone, the Godfather. It included the chair and then the awesome looking figure. The outfit was stunning, and to my knowledge were the first use of wire on these figures around the bottom of the coat. I'm not entirely sure why they did it, but I find that it keeps it neat when he's sat down, because you can sort of bend the wire around his legs and then he can sit on the jacket, and it keeps it very tidy looking. The head sculpts were the massive step forward for Hot Toys. This and I think the Bank Robber Joker were where Hot Toys went from really impressive and probably already been best on market. When they did these, it was sort of fucking hellfire. These are museum pieces. That is how good they got. Like I said, there were a couple others around this time. Blade, I always thought were a good looking figure, but the more I see Blade, the less I see Wesley Snipes in it, where this one has never really changed. The paintwork was stunning, as you can see. The sculpt was amazing. The sort of marks on the skin tone, on the sort of pigmentation marks on the face, the liver spots, just really nice. The depth in the eyes, like I say, is stunning, and has stood the test of time more so than Blade or the Bank Robber Joker. I think the Bank Robber Joker definitely been improved upon. This never has, to my mind. Entebbe had a crack at it a while back, but to me it just weren't a patch on this. It did include a standard base with the graphics, the cat, a couple of spare hands and his glass, but as a set and as a corner piece, as your collection, most people would be proud to own it. Price wise, I saw this figure shoot up in price. It went up to like the £300–400 mark, and at that point I thought that's pretty fair, because you don't see everybody get it. So you've got a figure that either not everybody wants or not everybody can afford or whatever. The price has started coming down a little bit the last I saw, but still not a lot of people pick this figure up. Everybody's gone superhero crazy. They don't go back and really collect from the films that they love, but I like to vary it up, and this is a figure I've got to say is the oldest one in my collection as it stands, and I don't think I've ever thought about selling it. So the downside is, I suppose, what I've just said, not a lot of people would want it. It is basically an old man in a tuxedo in a chair. But if you don't love the film, you just don't get it, I suppose. But like I say, it is an awesome piece, and I suppose I'm lucky to only rank 15 on this countdown. But like I said, there is a lot of good figures in this collection, and I suppose when I take novelty value into it, I suppose that's probably why. I've had it a while and sort of the novelty's worn off. But it is an awesome looking piece. So like I said, at 15 was The Godfather by Hot Toys. Okay guys, before I start mentioning the Gangsters Kingdom by Damn Toys and start the countdown, I'm just going to explain a couple of things. Some of these figures are memories versions. If they are memories versions, they will stand alone as figures. Exclusive versions, so like the Two of Spades at the front and the Jack of Spades at the front, if I've got the original version, I will make them as one entry, so I will show you the original version and the exclusive version, but within that I will tell you which I prefer out of the two. So for example, if the Jack of Spades original version ranks, which it does, then also I'll include showing you the exclusive version of that. And also the same for the variants, which you will see down there. If I do rank, for example, the Three of Diamonds, which is at the back, I will also include the original version. So I'll show you the options you can get. The only two that never made it onto the list is the Side Story Saxon. Nice figure, but because there wasn't a lot included in the set, I find it very hard to bump it up the list, so he missed out. Also, one that missed out is the 4 of spades, which is there. Again, really nice figure, very impressive, particularly when he's dressed like he is there. But they actually sent it with a really thick brown leather coat, and it is the worst part of clothing of all this range, and I think that might be the only reason that I didn't put it in. But like I said, as it's posed now, I really like it. It's got that cowboy theme, but the others are just better to me, so that is why I didn't include it. So I'm going to crack on now and start the countdown of the Gangsters Kingdom. So let's kick off the Gangsters Kingdom countdown at number 15. It's Reyes. A lot of you guys might not be familiar with the Gangsters Kingdom line, so that is why I've merged it with an Hot Toys video, because that way you're going to be seeing the figures you probably came to look at, but also I'm going to try and introduce you to this line. I know this line is not for everybody, but I do personally love it, and a lot of the guys who collect them are pretty loyal to the line. So that is why I wanted to merge the videos. This one is basically what they call a side story version. So it's not one of the main ranked characters, but his story does intertwine with one of the main characters. So that is where the side story comes from. You'll notice through this countdown that most of them have a resemblance to actors you might know or characters you might know. And anybody who watched Breaking Bad will know that this one is based on Tuco Salamanca. So, like I said, they do always tip their hat to somebody who would know the theme of the figure, the backstory to the figure. It's always really impressive. I have ranked this one quite low simply because it isn't a main character, but I still did like it when I got it, but it also doesn't bring a lot. As you can see, just a couple of spare left hands, a couple of spare right hands. It does have his pocket cannon, which is a silver and gold Desert Eagle, and then his bone handle knife. Pretty much got him in a pose where he's showing he's going to cut somebody's throat. So that is the pose I went for there. He has the Versace style shirt, which is really nice. Then it has like a padded under t-shirt with his Cuban link chain. It just looks pretty beastly, pretty gangster, Mexican gangster sort of thing. So I do like it. The nicely sculpted cowboy boots. He will stand on his own, as you can see. A nice addition to the collection, but not one of the key characters, like I said. But I do love it, and that is why it's ranked at number 15 on my Gangsters Kingdom countdown. At number 14, I've gone for the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Show you what he brings. Right, I'll start off by saying I think this figure was one of the most photographed by me. When I first got it, I was just astounded by how articulated it were. I couldn't stop taking pictures, putting them up on Sideshow Freaks, trying to go for more and more extreme poses, and I just really had a good time with it. I always sort of looked at it and thought it was a little bit too thin, not quite, a little bit too lean and not quite muscular enough in the chest, the upper arms and the upper legs in particular. So he always looked a little bit boyish. I know that's what he's supposed to look like, but just for me, I wish he would have just been a lot... I always preferred the body more on the Medicom Amazing Spider-Man from the first film, although the figure weren't as good as this. So I just like that that body type. But like I said, over time, the body's held up well to the poses I've done. The suit's held up really well, although sometimes it gets a little bit baggy in certain areas. So you just have a little repose and it'll go back to how it were. Also, another thing that happened over time, sometimes from a certain angle you look at the head sculpt, and as you move around it, it seems like the glue or like a greasy substance is seeping through from the sculpt through the material. Now I've tried rubbing that out, I've done it a couple of times, and it always seems to be there. Now it's not totally faded and it's not totally miscoloured, it's just something I notice. To be honest as well, sometimes I look at it and I think, is it supposed to be like that? I mean, there's sort of the darker marks up here and up here, some round here, and as I move it, sometimes it captures the light, sometimes it doesn't. So, but when I look at the box, I also see there is darker marks on the suit, so I'm looking here and here, round here. So I'm just wondering, is it meant to be like that or is it a defect? Either way, it's only minor, so I don't really bother. I don't want to exchange it out like that. The set brought the spare outfit from the scene in the film where he looks ill. I did put that on for the review, check that out if you haven't already. all in all, I wouldn't really pose a Spider-Man using that, using an outfit. I like him in his standard costume, obviously. It brought the dynamic flight stand, and the exclusive version also had a reversible graphic for the top. I go for that. The other one I think is Spider-Man's head in profile. Obviously it has the chrome nameplate. It also brought the, is it plutonium? The little canister. So that came with the exclusive. And it also brought the sort of bull-horn that he will hold, because he has plenty of hands. The holding hands, fists, web holding hands, relaxed, and web spinning hands. And then a selection of webs, as you can see. I've still got them in this polystyrene or this foam, whatever it is, and the instruction manual. So pretty good set. The hands did swap out on a sort of new style half hand system, so you get the knuckle section and the fingers, and then the upper part of the hand actually is attached to the cloth of his sleeve, so to speak. So people always ask what would happen if a wrist peg breaks inside. I think you're going to be going some to break one, and I never have. So sometimes it feels like it's sliding out inside the suit, but it just slides back in, so I've never really had a problem with it. So I do like how the hands swapped out on this. Another thing you notice, sometimes the magnets, the little magnets here, will pop out with the other part. You've just got to take it off, glue it back in place. So I did like how the hands swapped. I think it reviewed really well, to be honest, this one. But for the countdown, it only manages to get to number 14. At number 14, it's the Two of Diamonds, or Alga, which is his name. Loosely based on Scott Adkins as Yuri Boyka from the films, is it Undefeated? I think it's Undefeated, I'm not sure. As you see, he has the long black coat, the nice fur collar, the blood spattered knuckle duster, which is shaped like a skull and will hold in his hand. Moving down, the other things he brings, the pump action shotgun, which is nice in black and silver, 4 throwing knives, which are still inside the pack, some nice aviator shades, the pouch that will hold the knuckle duster and fit onto his belt. Just feed his belt through the loops at the back. The Gangsters Kingdom signature middle finger, you see the tattoos on it. Yep, nice touch. And then he has a set of these sort of gauntleted hands, which is for, if you read his backstory, he's pretty much like a Kung Fu or Taekwondo expert. That's his background, and they do include those as well. I wish they would have been fisted hands though, that's the only thing, particularly that one. I don't know why they've used a trigger hand. It should have been in like a closed fist, but still a nice touch. I normally have it with a leather coat on, simply because I think the coat is too beastly to keep it inside the pack, but it is nice that you could take that off. And then it has like a dragon print t-shirt, which is long sleeved, and then you can put him those on. So it does look badass. The pose I've gone for, he's pretty much got his fist up and his other hand saying, "Come at me, bro." So that's what he's saying. Let's touch inside there as well. He has got a silver chain on, and on the side of his leg he's also got the silver sort of the pocket chain. So yeah, nice touch, really cool pieces. I just prefer some in the line. It's one that I normally tuck in a back corner and don't take much notice of. Might be because it's all black. I mean, a lot of them are got the dark clothing, but I think it's like just a merge of, it didn't bring a lot and I've had it for quite a while. So that's where he finds himself at number 14. At number 13 is the Hot Toys Iron Man Mark 45. This is one of the most recent Iron Man releases. It is the die-cast one, and it is one of the major armours. It's not the House Party Protocol ones from Iron Man 3. And it is a total beast, to be honest. The paintwork on it is unbelievable. It's a really nice, smooth, sculpted armour. Very rounded, very organic feeling. Just a really nice, classy look. The gold on it is nearly reflective. It's that shiny, and the reds are just stunning. I don't know if you'll be able to see the. Try not to get into my own light. The metallic flicker on the paintwork. It really is a nice touch. It is very poseable, but what I will say is it's hard with this figure to find a pose that I look at and think, fucking hell, that's stunning. I don't know why that is. there always seems to be something just off about it. I mean, it's not a bad pose, but I don't know. I used to be able to pose the Mark IV and probably the 42 and think, yeah, I've got it just on. This one, I've never found that pose yet. I don't know why. But it is a nice set and a really nice figure. Just to show you, it does have the diorama base, the sort of Ultron style soldier, some interchangeable parts, the repulsor blast hands with a fire effect, 2 lasers for his forearm laser, some spare hands, and then the blasts for his feet. Do look nice when they're on, but I don't really pose it like that, simply because even if you put him on his pole at the top height, the blasts really don't fit on bottom of his feet. So yeah, I don't really understand that. But it is a nice figure anyway. Say it's mainly the paintwork that makes it eye-catching. The light-up features do look nice also, but I forgot to turn them on. But yeah, nice addition. I do believe it is the Iron Man to have at the moment. Once the 46 releases, that will remain to be seen. I will hopefully be able to review that if the price ain't too mental, and then I'll tell you which I prefer out of those. But most of you will know I do like to try and pick the best available of a certain figure, or a certain character should I say, and at the minute I do believe this is the best. So yeah, very nice figure. Let's roll on to the next one. At number 13 is the 3 of Spades, or Bernie as he's known. Just show you the figure first. Now, one of the things I really like about this line is you get quite good extras with each one. Also, another thing I like is you can pick the parts up off eBay and some of your local stores that will split down figures. You can pick the individual parts up really cheap. Even a body you could get for about a tenner, 15 quid. Now, this figure is one of the only ones that I've seen, or the only one that I know of, that brings a spare head sculpt. It come with the same head sculpt as that, but this time with a balaclava glued on. So what I did is, while I was putting figures together that I could use for interchangeable parts for my sort of Dev Groove figure, which I wanted to bring in line with the Gangsters Kingdom, I actually pimped him out, bought some outfits, bought some weapons, boots, footwear and all that, and it's allowed me to make a few spare figures. So this is what you're seeing. It is the 3 of Spades head sculpt, as you can see. And then I've just thrown on the bow and arrow set that you can find on eBay. They are the 3 of Spades boots, but I've painted them black myself. A black all-in-one SWAT suit with a body armour that I actually painted on the front Uncle Clipper. And then if I turn him round, just bear with it, on the back sort of scratched in gun for hire. So that is just really just a spare figure, so to speak, but I wanted to display it because the parts that I took from the 3 of Spades as well. The 3 of Spades is a nice figure, very military compared to a lot of the others, as you can see, with a camo waistcoat, camo trousers, and then military style boot. But he does sort of have a farmer style pump action shotgun with the cartridges along the leather section of the stock. He also has an axe that's tucked inside the pouch down there, goes down the back of his leg. You can zip on the hood on there if you wanted to have him sort of a look like that. It will zip onto the collar, so that's a nice touch, but I prefer it off. Then he has the pistol with a couple of clips and just a spare hand. So a nice figure. The only downside to it is it resembles Wayne Rooney, and obviously because Wayne Rooney plays for Man United, he's proper bastard to me. He is also England captain at this point, so I should respect him, but they were fucking wank against Iceland, so fuck them. So that's pretty much what keeps this figure low in my countdown. I can't abide by Man United players, and yeah, Wayne Rooney's just a fucking fat mess. That's fucking prejudice against this figure just because of Rooney in it. But anyway, it is number 13 on my Gangsters Kingdom countdown. At number 12, it's the Entebbe Scarface set. Now, a lot of you guys are probably looking at this and thinking he's jumped the shark. He hasn't picked one. Which one does he prefer? I will tell you that the reason I've classed them as a set is because that is how I bought them from Entebbe. I bought both together, they came together, and they've never been separated. Also, the reason I've done it is because I would suggest that any of you guys looking to buy these figures, I would buy both. Simply because the stuff that each one brings, it complements each other really nicely. So, I don't know. I don't think I could keep one without the other. So that is why I've classed them both together. Right, so, we'll look at this is the war version. So the box is like all black, and it's the black suit version with a more aggressive face sculpt. That face got some stick when it first come out. I've always really loved it because I think I've seen Scarface enough times to recognise that certain parts of the film, that is the expression he has. I think the eyes are stunning anyway, and I think people always had a problem with the shape of the mouth. I think sometimes when he's talking, or the scene when he goes and shoots Manny, I think that is bang on. I really do like it. Obviously the war version brings the machine gun with the underslung grenade launcher from the final scene. Obviously the black suit with a white shirt. It's pinstriped. Both figures have the stand, and then they have an array of extras each. So you're looking at a couple of grenades, sunglasses, cigars. That's the shared hands between both sets. So you do get quite a lot, as you can see. You get a stash of money with the Respect version, some blocks of coke, sunglasses again, cigar, the briefcase, see 2 more bags of coke, some more money, and the pistol with a silencer on. You see, this is the Respect version. I will say the chair is from the Blitzway figure, which I did have before these. There were a time when people would constantly ask me which version I prefer, and I always said it like this: you need the Blitzway chair, so that is the reason that you would go for that. Also, the Blitzway clothing and shoes in particular were very good, so I do definitely think that's the case. But I've always thought that both of these Enter-based sculpts are both better than the Blitzway one. I do quite like the expression on the Blitzway one. It's just when you turn it sideways, it's got a chimpish look about it, and I think since I knew that, it really put me off the figure. The best sculpt of all three for me is the Respect version. That is definitely Al Pacino through and through. I just love that one. The hair, the look in his eyes, the fact he even looks off to the side. I think it is a total and utter beauty. So I do love that sculpt. So I always used to say the best looking one is the Respect version, but the most iconic, and if you're only going to have one, which should you have? I still think it's the War version. Simply because people, if they want to pose that figure in that pose, which is the say hello to my little friend pose, then you need that figure. So that's the way I said it. The Blitzway one's nice, that's the best head sculpt, but that's the most iconic. So you've got to then choose which you prefer. I do love the set as they are. They just complement any gangster shelf really well. And I do love them, love Pacino, love the figures, and that is why they rank in my top 15. At number 12, it's Spade 7, or Harry, as his name is. Always liked this one, got something really cool about him. Very assassin, let's say, or negotiator feel about it. If you read his backstory, basically he's the guy they send in to negotiate Spade 5's freedom. That's the way I understand it. As I look down the figure, you see he's mainly made up of black, from the boots, the skinny jeans, up through the belt buckle, the black t-shirt, the black coat with the furred collar, and even up into his shades and his gloves. The scarf is wired, as you can see, so you can have it blowing, as is his coat, which is really cool. I did it like that simply because underneath there he's got a concealed Uzi that straps to the side of his belt, and that side he's got 2 spare clips. Inside the bag is a false floor. It has like a fake block of money, and underneath that a rigging that you can set up the pump action shotgun, and then his hand will go through there. So if the deal goes south, he can fucking blow some motherfucker away. 2 spare gloves, the iPhone, some more spare money that goes on top, and then that's for the handles of his bag. That's for the rigging that holds the shotgun in his bag, and then he has a spare coat, which again is really good looking. mix of materials. Just something really cool about him. I like the fact that he's a badass, but you don't see everything he's bringing. Like I said, the concealed Uzi down one side and the shotgun would stay inside the duffel bag. So he's just got that fucking cool badassness about him. He does tip his cap to Clive Owen, and I think this sort of casting of this figure were perfect, because that's the feeling I get from Clive Owen in some roles. He's got that rugged handsomeness, I suppose, but also he's got that fucking deep underlying secret, so I think it fits this figure perfectly. So yeah, Spade 7 made it to number 12 on the countdown. On to number 11. Now this might be a little bit of a controversial one, but just remember, I'm ranking the figures in my collection, not the figures that you guys can go out and buy. So some people will say that's not even official Hot Toys. It isn't. Well, it is. It's the full set from Hot Toys, but I've recently bought a recast head. I got a lot of shit for buying that recast head, but you know my thoughts on that. Fuck them. They don't pay for my stuff, so I'll buy what I want to buy. I bought it because I knew I could do a little bit of work on it myself, which is what I've done. So I think that is one of the best indie sculpts out there. But what I will say is, this figure got a lot of slating when it first come out. Now, this has got to have been out 5 or 6 years, I would say, this figure, and I still don't know a better Indiana Jones set than this one. Simply because the stuff that it brought, sort of pedestal with the golden, what it's called now, not Inca, idol, fucking hell, fucking brain's going as I'm getting older. A spare outfit if you wanted to change it into the clothes when he's in the map room. Some ungloved hands, some gloved hands. That is the official Hot Toys head, which did have purrs, although I have customised it myself, done a bit of a repaint on it. A lot of people don't like that sculpt. I don't mind that sculpt, but I do concede that compared to the custom one, or the kit bash one, or the fucking recast one, whatever you want to call it, I think that is the one that's better. It had the interchangeable air, the sandbag. It also had a diorama, or a backdrop should I say, that you could use as well, but that's still in the box. So like I said, I'm more ranking my own, if you know what I mean. The stuff that I did on it, the weathering I did on the jacket and trousers and shoes, that sort of thing. The repaint work I did on both head sculpts, that is actually the Hot Toys art. That is the art that came with that recast head. So like I said, I'm not necessarily marking Hot Toys version of Indiana Jones, I'm just marking my very own one. It's always a figure I like to look at from time to time. Never one I think about selling, so for that reason I have ranked it at number 11 in my countdown. At number 11 it's the 3 of Diamonds Juarez figure. Now as you see, there's 2 figures. Do you see them? Do you see them both? There's one on the left, look, and there's one on the right. Do you see them both? No, fucking stupid. Right, so this is the actual figure. As you see, it's based on Danny Trejo, pretty much in the machete outfit. Got plenty of blades, all blood spattered up. Moving down. I will say this is the biggest bitch of a figure to stand up, because at shape at boots, he just will not stand up on his own. So a stand is a must with this, and Damn Toys don't provide stands, so it's a little bit of a pisser. So what's the other figure you're probably asking? I'll tell you what other figure is, shall I? That is the chase figure, or the variant. Inside these, what they ship, this 100 secret figures, which are the variant, and I got number 72 of 100. Now the difference is, this one has a clean head sculpt, this one has the blood spatter marks on the face and neck, as you see. The belt buckle is different, it's gold on this one, silver on this one. The hands have blood spatter on the variant, not on the standard version. Same with the boots, same with the trousers. This is his coat, and it does have the blood spatter down the front and also down his sleeves. So it's more like a battle damage version. Very hard to find. I'm lucky that I've got good friends in the Facebook community that will sell me these figures, so that is how I've managed to pick up all the variants. This one is a nice one because it's different enough to warrant having both, although you could live with any version that you got. I said that is the, just move to the side so I'm not getting light on it. That is the certificate that you get to say you have got one of the hidden limited editions. So all in all, a really nice figure. I will also say as well at this point, when I bought this one it had a gauntlet missing, so I had to try and get another one. I managed to do that because somebody in the Facebook community, again, Ian Smith I think it was, sent me a set of clean gauntlets, and then I just bloodied them up myself with, are we looking or what? What's happening here? Bloodied them up myself with like a nail varnish type thing. Zoom in, see if you can get some light on situation. Like that. So that is how they're supposed to be. It only had one of the gauntlets, so now it's got a pair, thanks to Ian Smith. So yeah, two nice figures. Like I said, a bit of a pisser that he won't stand up, constantly taking a fucking nosedive, which is a pisser, but it is a nice looking figure. Another thing I will mention as well, the blades is slightly different on the variant. You have like a gold sculpted scorpion on one and a rattlesnake or cobra on other, so there is differences there as well. So yep, let's move on to the next figure.